Hello, I'm Kisonza Gaberash, the son of fire. I'm so excited to be here today, where we shall be having our life skills training. We are going to learn how to make hair shampoo.
Make your hair shampoo. You need to have all types of buckets. You need to have a measuring bucket, and you need to also have your mixing bucket. Okay. So you also need to have a mingling. I pass through again the materials or the ingredients. I told you you need to have tibro, and I told you another name for tibro is called wungalo, and I told you you need to have your industrial salt. Okay. You need to have CMC. You need to have fatty oils, and I told you when I talk about fatty oils, you can either have sunflower, you can either have palm oils, you can either have shea oil, you can either all those kind of fatty oil. So the first step starts by you pouring the salt. That's the first step, number one. Then step number two, we are making 10 liters of hair shampoo. Okay, so pour in your tibro. Don't pour all, a quarter. So this will be a quarter. That's enough. Pour in another quarter. Yes, so that is a quarter. Okay, so after, I think you see what is happening here. We have poured in our salt and we have poured in our tibro. Okay, so what happens next? We are going to add in 1 liter or 2 liters of water. Then we mix. I think you see what is happening. We have poured in our salt and we poured in our tibro and we poured in some 1 liter of what? Of water, and make sure you stir all what is in the bucket until all those particles dissolve. Make sure the salt dissolves, make sure the tibro dissolves in order for you to come out with the best hair shampoo. And always make sure you take your time, don't rush. Okay, 2 materials are poured in, tibro and salt. And I told you about salt. You can either use industrial salt or you can use normal salt. Okay, when you are making 10 liters, you use a kilogram of salt and use a quarter of tibro. When you're making 10 liters, when you're making 20 liters, you measure 1 kilogram of salt and 1 kilogram of, I'll keep on adding water. Okay, after putting in your industrial salt, and secondly putting in your tibro, or firstly or whatever, you make sure you put in your CMC. And I always tell people, make sure you measure your CMC separately. So you pour the CMC here, and the CMC, the quantity is, when you're measuring 10 liters, 1.5. When you're making 20 liters, you put 3 spoons, teaspoons. Okay, teaspoons. When you're measuring 20 liters of hair shampoo, you make sure you put in 3 spoons. When you're making 10 liters, you put 1 under. So she's going to put in some small water. We are mixing there, we are mixing CMC. And I told you the CMC is a foam booster. Anytime you see your hair shampoo is not thick, is not heavy, you just know that your CMC is little. So we have added in another 2 liters of water. So anytime you pour in an ingredient, make sure you mix. Anytime you pour in your water, make sure you stir. Keep stirring. When you leave your hair shampoo without mixing, your materials may easily get stuck without finishing the chemical process. So always, you should keep stirring it, okay? Because of the CMC, it has become thick. You see what's happening? It has become so thick. You see? It's so thick because we have added in our CMC. If you have your oils, let me assume I had my coconut oil. I would now do what? I would now pour it at this stage. In other words, you produce hair shampoo, coconut oil. If you put palm oil, you produce hair shampoo, palm oil.
I made sure I poured in a quarter of my white oil for 10 liters. So in other words, if you have your 20 liters, you pour in a half of your oil. She has added another 1 liter of water. You keep adding your water. So help, you put in your 1 milliliter of perfume. Okay? 1 milliliter after, okay? 1 milliliter. Someone one day asks me that, which type of a perfume do you use? Is it the one we spray on our bodies? No. We use an industrial perfume. That's why it is too conk. You just need a drop to just change the whole smell. Now we are remaining with only one thing to add on. That is our color. We are going to use an egg yellow color. I call it egg yellow. You see, it's egg yellow. In other words, the type of hair shampoo that will come out will be egg yellow. So just like I told you, you should always keep doing what? Stirring. You're seeing me, I'm on a mic, but I'm behind it so much because anytime you slip off, you never have the best. So you keep mixing this until the whole process gets complete. So you keep mixing. So I told you it will be egg yellow.
That was about the hair shampoo. Now we are going to learn petroleum Vaseline.
And let me pass you through the materials you need to have. Number one, I'm going to pass you through how to make petroleum what? Petroleum Vaseline. Other people call it petroleum jelly. Let me pass you through the materials you need to have when you are making petroleum Vaseline. Number one, you need to have your charcoal stove. You need to have your saucepan. You need to have your teaspoon or your spoon for mixing your petroleum Vaseline. I told you, you need to have your saucepan, you need to have your charcoal stove, you need to have your spoon for doing what? For stirring, okay? And what chemicals or what materials you need to have? Number one, you need to have the jelly. If you don't have the jelly, you need to have the wax. This wax I talk about, they are commonly got from bees. They are the same wax we use for candles. So if you don't have the jelly, you can use your what? Your wax. You need to have lanoline. Lanoline, L-A-N. How many things are those? 3. I told you need to have the jelly. In case you go to the shop and I told you there's no jelly, tell the person, okay, give me the wax, because they all do what? The same function. 2 things you add on. You add on your color, then you add in your perfume. I'm now going to pass you through the things I've been telling you. This is my jelly. There's no chemical in it. This is my lanoline. It's yellow in color. This is my perfume. The same perfume I used for liquid soap is the same perfume I'm going to use for petroleum Vaseline. Why? Because it's a universal perfume. This is my pink color, pink in color. Demonstration. Let me have my charcoal stove. Just put it up here, because if we put it up, bring the saucepan. So we are going to melt our jelly, and we take it from just being jelly to petroleum. And by the time we finish up, we shall produce petroleum Vaseline or petroleum jelly. I poured in our jelly and I've just poured in a quarter. Okay? In other words, if you have 1 kilogram of your jelly, you can produce 80 tins. So it is melting. So after, add our lanoline, put all this. After you have melted the 2 things, the jelly and the lanoline, you pour in any other fatty oils. For example, if you have your coconut oil, that would be the right time to add on. In other words, the petroleum Vaseline you produce will be petroleum Vaseline coconut oil. And after that, there are 2 things you need to add on. Lastly, and these 2 things, you can only put them after your jelly has been removed from the fire. That is the perfume and the color. Don't apply your color or your perfume when your saucepan is still on fire. Why? Because your perfume will evaporate. So she has removed the thing from the fire. So I'm trying to play around with it. Did we pour in our white oil? So take it back on fire for 1 minute and pour in a quarter of the white oil. I poured in white oil. In other words, if you don't have white oil and you have coconut oil, pour it there. Simple. If you don't have coconut oil and you have palm oil, pour it there. make sure you pour all the oils when your stuff is still melted, so that the oil does not remain on top when your thing dries. How much of the color am I going to put in? Had I melted the whole of this 1 kilogram, I would put in a half. But now because I've put in a quarter, I'll also put in a quarter.
Now we are going to learn the school chalk.
We are going to produce school chalk. That is our next lesson. There are two things you need to only know when you're producing chalk. One, you need to have a molding machine when you're making chalk. That's number one. Number two, you need to have POP. What does POP stand for? POP stands for Plaster of Paris. And you also need to have your colors. Bear with me here. I have my Uni-Int color here. It's Unit-Int. That's the name of my color. And it's green. It is not in a powder form. This one is liquid in form. There are different types. You can get the green one. You can get the pink one. You can get the purple one. You can get all types of colors. You need your oil for lubricating your machine. Someone asked me, what is the importance of that thing in the container? No. This is specifically for doing what? You make sure you pour that cooking oil on your machine and apply it in all those lines where the chalk will sit. That is what they call lubricating. Okay? Why do we lubricate our machine? So that our chalk does not get stuck when it does what? It dries. Without wasting time, I also need to tell you that if you have 1 kilogram of the POP, you can produce about 200 pieces of chalk. 1 kilogram. We are now going to demonstrate. I think you see what is happening here. This is my POP. So we are going to make the green chalk, and just like I told you, it's just a matter of pouring in the color in the POP. So I've finished mixing up POP, and I told you I was mixing first the white color alone, and after I mix the what? The green color also. And after, what happens? You put your molding machine on sunshine, or you put it in a cool dry place, so that your chalk begins to do what? To dry. And just like you see here, my chalk has already begun doing what? Dry. I want us to open and we see how our chalk are dried. Okay?
for the bar soap,
I'm gonna give you the chemicals you need to know. Number one, you need to have sodium silicate. When you're dealing with bar soap, you need to have sodium silicate. And sodium silicate is basically for smoothing the soap, for making it smooth. You need to have lanoline oil. You need to have oil-lye. Oil-lye, another name for oil-lye is called sodium hydroxide. This is how the sodium hydroxide looks like. It is like salt. Also, you need to have other oils. When I mean other oils, like for example, today, I'm going to use palm oil. If you have your cooking oil, like a half a liter, you can also use cooking oil. If you also have white oil, you can also use white oil.
Add on your notes there, powder. Be very careful when you are dealing with the sodium hydroxide, because it reacts when you pour water. We are going to demonstrate. Step 1, pour your oil. What happens? Then you pour in your what? So this is my palm oil. Nigerians know it. So because I want to produce like 1 bar of soap, I've put in a half liter of my oil. After pouring in your oil, you pour in your powder. So after the powder, you pour in your sodium what? Silicate. And I'll pour in a quarter. Then after, start mixing. See what's happening here? The sodium silicate. You had even poured in your cooking oil. It would become like that. Remember, soda ash will help to remove stain from your clothing. So you also apply your soda. I'll put in 3 spoons. Then after soda ash, there's one more thing you need to apply now. That is the lye, the sodium what? Hydroxide. And I remember telling you, you always need to mix them separately. So this is my water. Rush, you see the water is cold. But after applying the lye, it will begin boiling. Too cold after I pour in the sodium silicate. So, you see the lye. After you pour your what? Your lye or your sodium hydroxide. And I told you, see what happens. Then you do what? Pour it right. Suppose I'm making 1 bar. I will not love to mix it all. So that sodium hydroxide you see goes on now doing what? Heating up with the what? With the oils. So now after doing that, you pick your molding machine. Even when you already tell you to pick it. Okay, what happens is this. Pick it and do what? Transfer it to your molding machine. I forgot to put in perfume, madam. But your perfume is your last. So it's gonna dry and become like a stone. Can you clap for this session? Don't put it on sunshine. Put it on in a cold, dry place.
and the liquid soap.
Let me run you through my version of how to make liquid soap. Number 1, you need to have industrial salt or normal salt. You need to have tea bro. You need CMC. You need the soda ash. What else? You need your color. You need your perfume. You also need an acid. And this is the most important. Without the acid, no liquid soap. And there are 2 types of acids I'm very conversant on. I have sulfonic acid here, one of them. This sulfonic acid. When you are going to measure 20 liters, you need a quarter of your sulfonic acid. Another acid people use is caustic acid. But I always encourage my customers to use this guy because there are bands. But this one can spare you. We have our sulfonic acid here. We have our soda ash here. We have our tribro here. We have our salt here. We have our urea. You need to have your perfume. I always tell people it is good to do what? To mix these things separate. Let's begin by pouring in our tribro. Then your industrial salt. CMC. After that, sulfonic. So I told you our CMC is helps to thicken. I always mix it separately. And I told you there are 2 types of chemicals or materials that help to thicken. You can either have the KDS or after that, this is my urea. And I told you, put in 3 spoons when you are making 20 liters.
Then I have here my soda ash. I told you the soda ash helps to remove stains from from your clothes, and I've also put in 3 spoons. After that, you pour in our color. I think you see what's happening. We poured in green color. That is my what? That's my perfume. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of our session, and that's how they make liquid soap. So give it time. After mixing it like that, give it either 12 hours or 24 hours.
Today we have done a lot of important skills that have been of importance to communities. We have taught communities how to make soap, how to make bar soap, how to make liquid soap, how to make hair shampoo. And I want to thank Untitled Mission so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For making this possible, and the entire team of People Aqua Uganda. Thank you so much, and may God bless you.